Let's talk about Marvel Comics and Disney. As you can see from this Orlando outlet here, Walt Disney Company loses more than $7 billion this year. It's one of their first annual losses in 40 years, I believe. Pretty bad. Pretty bad. And they're going to keep losing money. The one bright spot they have, though, and it's why their stocks are rebounding a little bit, is Disney Plus. That's doing good. That's their big hit. And that's what's giving people hope for the future of the company, because of the fact that, the streaming service is doing very well, and streaming is kind of the future. As you know, Wonder Woman 1984 is going to HBO Max and theaters on the same day. Theaters are pretty much done. Disney knows this. That's why they're shifting focus into Disney Plus. I would also expect Black Widow to go straight to Disney Plus as well. Though they're going to charge you a premium. At least AT&T's just giving it to you with the service. But anyway, why am I talking about this? Well, I've regularly talked about how I believe Marvel Comics is going to get a big drink of karma this year. I think it's going to happen in December. I think they're going to announce their big restructuring plans, which they've already talked about. They said they have big plans coming in December. And I think Marvel Comics, much like DC Comics at Warner, is going to get a big drink of karma. The evidence is kind of there. Marvel doesn't really give a damn. And that's easily explained with art like this.
You serious?
Very serious. This is from a real comic book. A real one. I found out about it from your boy Zach. I'll link his video in the description for you. Go tell him YellowFlash sent you. You've got to see more detail on this, and I'm going to go over a little bit of it. But this is a real panel from a real Marvel comic book. This is horrible. This is amateur. This is something that somebody with no training or something would do. This is really, really bad. And what's funny is the book itself, which I'm going to go over a little bit, calls this an up-and-coming artist. The mere fact that this was published in a Marvel comic book is a joke. And it's more about identity politics than it is actually publishing good stuff. Look at the panel itself. Just look at what she says. Pretty sure you can keep the phone and lose the men, just so you know. This is another thing Marvel does. Tells you men are trash. Men are the approved villains. Men are the approved group to beat up on, to make fun of, to trash. And it's really funny. I don't know if you know this, Marvel Comics, but probably 80%, at least, that's just a guess. I'm going to just a wild guess out there. 80% of the people who read Cape Comics, which is what you are, you're a Cape Comic superhero company, most of that audience is men. Women do read some comics, but they usually don't read Cape Comics. As much as you want to try and make that happen, and the ones that you do get, like them for what they are. They don't want to sit around and read about how men are trash. Okay, and that's just another. This book is peak Marvel. It sums up the entire company. But look at this art. I can't get over how terrible it is. It just shows you nobody there gives a damn about anything. Nobody watches. You can have people redraw things. This should have never been approved. The editor, sleeping on the job, doesn't even care. I don't even know what editors do at Marvel. I don't even know what they do. Do they do anything? I don't think so. I think they do nothing. Because the fact that this exists proves just that. This is the worst thing. I've seen a lot of bad art. And I've been reading a lot of Marvel comics since I've started my channels. I started out really going over comics. And this is the worst. I got to say, the worst I've ever seen. And it gets worse. So this is the book where that art comes from. It's called Marvel Voices Indigenous Voices #1. And it's basically all about their indigenous characters, as you can see from the cover. And they have what they call, and this is their words, a host of hot up-and-coming talent that are working on this book. It's a host of hot up-and-coming talent. And I got to tell you, if this is the future of Marvel, Marvel's going to be even, like, there's just no way that no one's going to buy this. I'm like the only person that picked this up, and that's just so I could do it for this channel. So we're not going to go over the whole book. Obviously, I can't go over the whole book, but we can talk about it a little bit. So this is where it starts. The whole thing is basically about her teaming up with Captain Marvel to go fight with Loki. And it starts off with a bunch of guys trying to mansplain or something and talk down to her or hit on her. You can see this one says, "Hey, hottie, I know you don't want to hear from me, but we should talk. I'm worried." And then we got mansplainer Wolverine. "Listen, kid, I'm not one to give advice, but..." So she's a little upset, all these men's talking to her. So what does she do? She says, "Sigh, men. They just leave me be?" Because she don't need no man. She don't need no man. So this is that same artist from the Captain Marvel comic. I wanted to point out to you. You can kind of see here, like, obviously faces, not this artist's strong suit. In fact, there's a lot of things that this artist sucks at. I think this artist could actually improve and get better. Just needs practice. But this artist is not ready for prime time and should have had no business being published in a Marvel comic book. There was no business for that. In fact, here's Joe Ball, who, spoilers, is the artist for my comic book that I'm working on, which I'll start talking more about when it's a little bit more ready. But I want to show you this. He says, "Same editors told me I was no good. Think about the people they hire. Zero talent from the top to the bottom." And he's referring to this. Now, here's a book he's doing some work on right here. It's on Indiegogo. It's called Mothman. Feel free to check it out. It looks really cool. I have a link to that in my community tab. Here's some of his art that he posts, and I think this is what he sent to Marvel from back in the day. It looks really good, doesn't it? Looks fantastic. I think it does. And Marvel turns down talent like this to hire people that draw like this. Okay? That's really sad. And most of this is stemmed out probably, identity and stuff like that. This is what Marvel puts first. It's not about the product. It's not about the talent. It's not about what you can do. It's a lot about your characteristics and inner traits. That's what gets you into Marvel now, and that's why Marvel is failing. DC is actually a little bit better. I got to tell you. Most of their artists are actually really good. I don't see too much shit like this at DC Comics, but Marvel has really went down the drain. And this is why I do 100% believe in December you're going to hear about the axe coming from Marvel. So let's get back into the book a little bit. Captain Marvel shows up and tells her, "You don't need no man." After she gets the phone out of the garbage and says, "Pretty sure you can keep the phone and lose the men." So a whole book about men are trash with terrible art. So we can zoom in on this a little bit. And then the face doesn't get any better. Look how terrible that is. Terrible. This is some of the worst art I've ever seen. Like, who approves this? It's a complete joke. And it's just, I can't believe it. Like, Marvel used to be, I think back to the 90s, to the early 2000s even, 80s. But we can stick to the early 2000s if you want to stay somewhat recent. Like, Marvel was the best, man. And now they're just a complete laughing stock. This is peak loser Marvel. And you just can't tell me there's no way that this company is making money. There's no way this company's making money. And I got to tell you, the free ride is over. I don't know if they have any idea what's coming, but I'm telling you right now, in December, I do believe that there's going to be a Disney axe coming for this company, and they're going to get really reduced down. And I think the days of just throwing shit at a wall like this, like they just threw this at a wall. Well, we can put this out. It'll look good for political reasons, even though it's not going to sell and make any money. That time is up. And I guarantee you, someone's going to see this and say, "What the hell?" And well, they might look at this, but they're already looking at Marvel Comics. Disney doesn't have any company like it. I don't think they're going to get rid of Marvel, but they're going to downsize them big time. And you don't need any other more evidence than this. What a joke. Anyway, check it out. Link in the description if you want to check out Zach's video. Also, if you would, let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. I'd like to hear from you. Also, liked, and share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Subscribe if you're new. Hit that notification bell, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out.